Nice try.
I'm very excited. I know you're in the new Night Court, but I know you as Dan from the old Night Court, and I'm freaking out right now. It's nice to meet you.
You watched that in your crib, I take
No,
it.
I did not. No, I did not. I watched that in my living room, and I was older than that, a lot older than that. But yes, no, I love you. I've loved you since I was a kid, so I'm gonna get the goofy grin off here in a minute.
Okay.
So you have a distinctive voice. I mean, you're known for it. Is it true that your career started in radio? I didn't know that.
It did. When I was like 15 years old, I worked for a classical radio station in New Orleans, and which was connected to the PBS station in New Orleans. So it was just 24 hours a day of Beethoven and Bach, et cetera. But it was automated, so there was just a huge bank of tape recorders on the wall. Basically, my job was to make sure the tapes didn't break, and if one did, I'd push a button and another machine would start somewhere else. And I read 10 minutes of news every hour. So that's where I started my radio career, was at that station in New Orleans.
You have the perfect voice for it. So, like, I think I can sing well, but I don't like leaving voicemails.
Really?
No.
Yeah, you have to understand, my voice, when I was a boy, was a very strict and thick New Orleans accent. It was not,
You still probably had that depth, though, going on.
Yeah. Although I have, one day, if we ever become friends again.
Yeah.
I have a record that I made of myself when I was 9 years old.
Yeah?
And it's me talking about New Orleans and about the beach. It's a Yat accent.
Okay, so wait, did you have to do the thing where everybody makes you lose your accent?
No, it sort of just fell away naturally because of my love for radio. When I was a boy, I had a little tape recorder, and I would record Walter Cronkite and all the news guys at night and try to imitate their voices. And it sort of just fell away, I think, naturally.
Yeah. Okay, cool. As I mentioned, John was also the narrator's voice in the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So how did that come about? It's very random.
It's slightly random. A few years before that, late '69, I was working as a bartender in a small town in the mountains of Colorado. And a fellow came in to the bar, and we started talking, and his name was Toby Hooper. And I said, "What you doing?" He said, "I want to be a movie director." And I went, "Oh, congratulations, good luck for that." He said, "Yeah, I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to try to do it." So fast forward 4 years, I decided finally that I should try to be an actor, although I didn't think I would be successful. I moved to LA, somehow randomly came across Toby Hooper. He said, "I did it, I did. I directed a movie. And listen, you can do me a favor. Would you be the narrator in the beginning of it? I don't have any money, but would you just do me the favor of doing it?"
Yeah.
I went, "Yeah, absolutely." I loved it. So I went into the studio for 25 minutes, did that opening narration. I've never seen the film.
Yeah.
Wished him good luck and then left.
And then it blew up.
It seems it.
Yes, and there's so many of them. You've also done other ones, right?
I did, I think 2 or 3 more after that, but not with Toby being director. And actually got a salary to do the others, so it worked out fine.
I know, I love when people say that and you have no money. You know what I'm saying? You're like, well, that won't pay my water bill, man. $3.95 does not help me out at all. Let's take a quick break, everybody. Elba in the audience is gonna help us out.
Hi, Kelly and John. John, you've played a lot of lawyers in your career, like Dan Fielding on Night Court. I'm excited because I'm a first-year law student at Columbia. I'm the proud daughter of Nicaraguan immigrants, and I'm hoping to use my degree to help the less fortunate.
Yeah.
I just hope I don't have to do it in Night Court because I like an early bedtime. More with Kelly and John after the break.
Welcome back. We've got the amazing John Larroquette. Give it up, y'all. That was a look at Night Court, where John reprises his Emmy-winning role as attorney Dan Fielding. So your character was a district attorney years ago, now public defender.
Yes.
Yeah. So because your character had to change a bit. Obviously, it's been years, right?
It's been years, and he left, and he got married and had a wonderful life with his wife, and we find him in his apartment, kind of shut in by this knock on the door, and it turns out to be this young woman who he finds out is Harry Stone's daughter, and she wants to be a judge as well, and so Fielding feels obligated to sort of get out of his cave and try to help her navigate the denizens of Manhattan Night Court.
Yes. Oh my God, I mean, your voice, you should have some kind of app. I would just listen to it. It's so buttery.
Wow.
Oh, mine is so nasally. Anyway, okay, so you were reluctant to come back, right?
Sure.
Is it just because it was such a beautiful thing while it was happening?
No. I'm far more egotistical than that. And it's because, look at me. I mean, I didn't want to be compared to myself when I was 34 years old. I had to figure out what's funny about him now in 2023 or whenever we started. And so I sat down with the writers and thought about his life, what happened to him, where he is now, and what will bring him back to life.
Yeah.
And we figured that out. And so I was happy to join this new crew.
Yeah, I had more of a backstory of it. Yeah, what's different this time around?
Well, not much, I don't think. Certainly there's some kind of humors that you can't do that you could do in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
Like most movies you watch from the
Right,
80s.
exactly. And also the times have changed and people have changed. But the reality of that show is that Reinhold Wigge also said this, that the secret to a great comedy is lots of doors. Any story could walk into the courtroom. It can be a clown, it can be a square Elmo, it can be anybody you want.
Any material,
to
yeah.
bring it in. Like the bar at Cheers was
Yeah.
still the same. Any story can come in.
Yeah.
And people like the characters, you know? They like us. They like us. They like the characters.
Great. They do, they do. Okay, so has the set felt different? I know you did bring someone. Was it a screenwriter that you brought from the original?
No, our script supervisor.
Script supervisor, that's what
Yeah,
it was.
Susie.
Okay, I don't know the behind the scenes, so I don't know the jobs.
I just wanted somebody who I could look at occasionally and go, do you remember when, because the set's exactly the same.
Yeah.
We're right across the road from the original stage. We were on 9, the new one's on 10. And so it was a bittersweet. It was a ghost town, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm the only one left alive.
Yeah.
You know? Except Marcia. Because Marcia joined at the end of the second season because we had lost so many people before that. But Harry and Marky and Charlie and Richard are all gone. So it was weird walking on the set and seeing, that was a very important time in all our lives as far as actors, because it really put me in a place of success, as it were.
Yeah.
So it was bittersweet. But I fell in love with Melissa immediately and with the rest of the cast
great.
immediately.
Yeah.
So now it's its own thing now. It's a new thing.
Yeah, it's nice. And your son also works on the show?
He does.
Yeah.
When he heard that I was going to do it, this is my youngest son, he called and said, listen to what I just did. He's a musician. And he
You're just a musician, you went to Berkeley.
He went to Berkeley.
Yeah.
He graduated from Berkeley.
Yeah.
And so he sent me his reversion of the theme song with his guitars and his drums, all him, just one musician doing it.
Yeah.
I brought it to Melissa just because, hey, listen to what Ben did. And she went, oh my God, that's great. That's the new theme song. So he was hired as the composer on the show.
Wow. What a full circle moment that you're like, it's the gift for your success and it's also giving with your son for success. That's
And he
amazing.
was born at the pinnacle of that success because all of us by 86, 87 got pregnant.
Yeah.
Harry's
How was
wife-
your pregnancy?
I was fine. Strangely, I didn't gain that much weight. But Elizabeth, we had Ben. Harry had a baby. Marky's husband and Marky and her husband had a baby. Harry and his wife had a baby. Reinhold had a baby. So that feeling of success made it like, oh,
something in the water
can
at Night
afford it.
Court. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, don't go there if you don't want to. Yeah, okay. Well, the original Night Court never had a final goodbye. Was that on purpose?
I think so. You know, this is somewhat apocryphal, I think, only because I'm not an expert. When we came to the end, it was told to us sort of that Warner Brothers did not want it to end, like Cheers did, right? Cheers had a really goodbye episode, because I think Warner's wanted to try maybe sell it somewhere else or something.
Yeah.
So they said, don't make it like a finale. So there wasn't a real finale where we didn't really get a chance to break the fourth wall and say, thanks, America, for watching for so long. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about that, but we didn't have one. I know that.
It's kind of cool, though, in the end, because it came back around.
It came back around.
Yeah, so that's
And I got to do an episode about Christine Sullivan, Marky's character, when she went away and what feeling and she wound up doing at some point, and then
Tied it all in.
coming back at us. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so is it true that, I didn't know this, you read for Ted Danson's part in Cheers?
Yeah, and those times, you know, when Cheers was being cast, when Night Court was being cast, and I was an actor who was making the rounds, as it were. I did. I read for Sam Malone. I read for the judge originally on the show Night Court. As I was leaving, Hollywood Story, as I was leaving, the casting director went, hold on a second, there's another part that he would like you to read for if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
And that was Dan.
Everything happens for a reason. That's like as a musician, like the songs land where they're supposed to land. If you're not writing them, like sometimes the song will come to you and you're like, that's not right for me. And then you hear another artist just crush it. That's
true.
the same thing in the
That is
music
true.
world. Yeah. All right, let's take another quick break, y'all. You can watch Night Court Tuesdays on NBC and Wednesdays on Peacock.